Welcome to CommSpark. I'm Olivia, and I'm guest moderating our guest today, Cathy Coletts from Weiss Technik, North America. Welcome, Cathy.
Thank you.
So, Cathy, tell me about what your company's greatest technology achievement has been over the last 12 months.
Our team at Weiss Technik has done an amazing job of separating out the network for two entirely separate parts of the company. It was a huge undertaking that is finalized at the end of last year. We were purchased in February by Weiss Technik of North America. Prior to that, we had three divisions. We had a medical division, industrial division, and a testing division. And the medical division remained with Gentherm, the parent company, and Weiss Technik purchased the industrial and the testing divisions. So we are still encompassing the same building, the same physical infrastructure for both companies, but they're separate floors, separate production areas. So my team had to go back and put in an entire new infrastructure with a new connection for network, new firewall, new switches. Everything had to be a totally new setup for the Weiss Technik environment, and it connects to the parent company in Germany. And then all of the existing infrastructure that was there from the prior company has to point at now their server room on a different floor. So it was not only developing a brand new setup for the new company, but also segregating off all of the old information. So for a period of time during that year, there is this neutral zone or central zone where both companies have to be able to access the data to continue the day-to-day business. But now we have totally segregated that information to two separate networks, two separate connections. The interesting part was developing all the what I call handshakes in between and being able to have the right folks access across both networks. And we're still sharing an ERP system that we will share through the end of 2020. So that's sitting in the central zone also that both companies will still be accessing.
And what type of support do you feel like you got from some of the other functional business unit leaders? Were they supportive of this undertaking? Was there any pushback that you all had to deal with?
We dealt with a lot of pushback in the beginning, and it was more the company had been all three divisions together for so long that they felt they all shared the information and the data. But at the end of the day, when the sale of the two divisions happened, there really was a divide. And so departments like shared services, some of the accounting, some of the IT, they struggled with a lot of that as to who owned what information and what was getting divided. Some of it had to be copied and kept in both areas. And then when you're updating it, security was a big issue in this because from the day of the sale, February 1st, the database had to be divided, the information had to be divided. And as we move forward, each side was not allowed to access the other side's information. IT stood in the middle and still does to this day, supporting both sides of that. And the interesting part about this is Weiss Technik bought the entire IT team. It went with the sale for industrial and testing. And now the other side for medical is still using us as a contractor. We contract our time back to support them and their data and their information. It's not that we want to be in that long term, but we did that as a gesture of goodwill in the sale and in the process to still provide that since my team had the in-depth knowledge of where everything was and how the business functions for all three of those divisions. So this year technically was a huge challenge with this divide. It was everything from the network infrastructure to the ERP system had to be duplicated and divided, to changing the network connections and upgrading computers. If you know, this last year, everyone was going to Windows 10 and getting off Windows 7, and then it was all an Office 365 environment, and trying to maintain the integrity of both of those as this divide. Normally, if you're doing this type of a process, someone purchases the entire company. So if you're purchased by an entire company, that's a difficult challenge in itself. You're going to take the whole thing and migrate it into the new processes of the new company. Well, what happened in reality is 2/3 of the company was sold and the third had to still be maintained. So it was more this cut and divide and maintain the integrity of both sides of that. And that's what made it tremendously challenging for the IT team this year.
Yeah, that sounds like a tremendous undertaking, and I'm sure that there was some frustration on both ends, but also at the end of it, you come through and now you've got this new setup. I'm sure you guys are pretty excited about the newer equipment, better connectivity. What's been your feedback from some of your users? Are they excited about some of the changes now that they've been able to realize some of the benefits?
They're very positive about what's happening because we are gaining access to the corporate items for Weiss and the parent company for Schunk in Germany. We are now able to access systems that we didn't have access to before, and we're providing new equipment, we're providing new laptops for them, updated equipment. There was a large investment that the company did within this purchase to bring everything up to a current level and provide the best equipment and setup that they could for the Cincinnati location, and the users were very pleased with that.
Awesome. And do you feel like this is going to impact at all your goals towards the digital transformation or in implementing any type of digital transformation within the organization as a whole?
I do. I think having the infrastructure where it's on a stable and a current environment makes it much easier to launch from that position into a digital transformation, into looking at new technologies and what's coming around the corner. And it's making people more aware in other departments as well. IT is always looking at that horizon. What's the latest thing that's come out? Is this going to be stable? Do we think this is going to be 2 years down the road? Is it something that's a flash that's going to come or go? The biggest part of that is bringing the other departments up to that level so that marketing understands that and accounting understands that. Having this infrastructure that was put in the last 12 months gives us an advantage to now move forward on something that's new that's coming around the corner. The other part of that we always have to look at is our customers, because we make chambers. These are testing chambers for heat, light, vibration, those type of things, ovens, all kinds of things. Anything that's out in the marketplace now, business to business, has to be tested before it can be used. So we provide those chambers. Well, looking at digital transformation, a new technology might come out tomorrow that we want to take advantage of and we want to use for our customers. And in order to do that, we're now positioned where we can make that launch forward quickly.
It's definitely enabling the business to move with technology and move with the times versus being stuck and relying on older technology
Yes.
that hinders your ability to be agile
Yes.
within the environment.
It's key to keep that updated, and sometimes the thought process is, well, it's a difficult economic time or we're having things that are going on and so we can't invest in that. But if you don't invest in that, you're not set up to then take that next leap, whatever it is.
And it's great to hear as well that a company that's investing so heavily in an acquisition also wants to invest in technology and making sure that the organization that they're bringing under their umbrella is standardized and is as up to date as possible. It's not something you always see, but I can definitely see that you're appreciating the investment that the parent company's made.
Yes, we are.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
And if you all would like to find any additional information, you can go to comspark.tech.